Hello, everyone, and welcome to this fifth episode of Belief in Yourself. Today, we're going to talk about self-confidence. Now, I want to start by reading something from Marcus Aurelius that hopefully will get us in the frame of mind we need to be for this particular lesson. Objective judgment, now at this very moment. Unselfish action, now at this very moment. Willing acceptance, now at this very moment, of all external events. That is all I need. So, as I said, welcome to this section. We're going to be talking about self-confidence and how important self-confidence is, and the things that are that tend to block us from our own self-confidence. One of the things that Napoleon Hill wrote is that there are 6 basic fears that become obstacles to us. These fears are things that are passed down from generation to generation to generation. We're going to talk a little about a questionnaire, and I will also make sure I leave in the description so you can use that. And we'll go through those. So the next thing I want to do, I want to read you something that I wrote a long time ago when I started this journey. My desire is to bring more power into your life, better health, and to be happy. I want you to live the spirit of the things until they become yours by right. It will then become impossible to keep them from you. The things of this world are fluid to a power within each of us, which allows us to rule them. You need not acquire this power. You already have it. You want to understand it. You want to use it. You want to control it. You want to immerse yourself in it so that you can go forward and carry the world before you. Each day, every day, as you go on, you will gain momentum. You'll become more and more inspired as your plans crystallize. You will gain understanding that everything in life is alive and vibrant, filled with the beating heart of humanity. Those few who came into understanding and are inspired will have an energy and gain confidence and greater power each day. You will see your hopes and dreams come true and realize that life has a deeper, fuller, clearer meaning than before. So I wrote that when I started this journey. I copied it from, and I can't even remember the book that I copied it from. But as you can see, for me, this has been one of the driving forces and the reason I created this channel, so that I could try to encompass that power. So there are a couple of books I would highly suggest you get a chance to read. One of them is called The Obstacle is the Way. The Obstacle is the Way is written by Ryan Holiday. Marcus Aurelius said, "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions. Because we can accommodate and adapt, the mind adapts and converts its own purposes, the obstacle to our action." In other words, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And in a Zen story, the obstacle is the path. The obstacle in the path is the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. One of the things that is so important with self-confidence is that we have an understanding of who we are. I mean, a clear view of who we are and which of the fears or things that get in our way that keep us from really becoming powerful, that keep us from being aware. Because once you're aware of not just the things that you do well, but the things that keep you from doing things better or that hold you down, you now have the ability to work on it. So I'm going to go through a self-analysis questionnaire right now. I'm just going to read the questions out kind of in a rapid order, and I want you to think about it. I'll have them in the description, but they're 55 questions with some additional questions in them. Do you often complain of feeling bad? If so, why? Do you find fault with other people easily? Do you often make mistakes in your work? Are you sarcastic and obnoxious? Do you deliberately avoid anyone? And why? Does life seem futile and hopeless to you? Do you often feel self-pity? If so, why? Do you envy people who are more successful? Do you devote more time to thinking about success or failure? Are you gaining or losing self-confidence as you grow older? Do you learn from your mistakes? Are you permitting a relative or friend to worry you? Are you sometimes elated and sometimes depressed? Who is the most inspiring person you know? Do you put up with negative influences? Are you careless about your personal appearance? Do you avoid your trouble by being busy? Do you let other people do your thinking for you? Are you annoyed by petty disturbances? Do you resort to liquor, drugs, or cigarettes to calm down? Does anyone nag you? Do you have an aim in life and a plan for achieving it? Do you suffer from any of the 6 basic fears? And we'll go over those later. Do you have a way to shield yourself from the negative effects of others? Do you actively attempt to keep your mind positive? What do you value more, your physical possessions or your ability to control your own thoughts? Are you easily influenced by others? Have you learned anything of value today? Do you accept responsibility for problems? Do you analyze mistakes and try to learn from them? Can you name your 3 most damaging weaknesses and explain what you are doing to combat them? Do you encourage other people to bring their problems to you for sympathy? Does your presence have a negative influence on others? What habits in others annoy you most? Do you form your own opinion or let yourself be influenced by others? Does your job inspire you? Do you have spiritual forces powerful enough to keep you free from fear? Do you believe that birds of a feather flock together? What do you know about your friends? Do you see any connection between your friends and some unhappiness in your life? Is it possible that some close friends or associate has a negative influence on your mind? By what criteria do you use to determine who is helpful to you and who is harmful? Are your intimate associates mentally superior or inferior to you? How much time out of every day do you devote to your occupation, your sleep, your play and relaxation, acquiring useful knowledge, plain waste? Who among your friend and family encourage you most, cautions you most, discourages you most? What is your greatest worry? Why do you tolerate it? When others offer you unsolicited advice, do you accept it without question or analyze their motive for giving it? What, above all else, do you most desire? Do you intend to get it? Are you willing to subordinate all other goals for this one? And how much time do you devote to it daily? Do you change your mind often? Do you usually finish what you start? Are you usually impressed by other people's business titles, college degrees, or wealth? Are you often concerned by what other people might think or say of you? Do you try to make friends with people because of their social status or wealth? And last, whom do you believe to be the greatest person living? And how is this person inspiring you? Now, I would suggest give yourself some time to fill this out, a day at least, and fill it out honestly. Nobody's going to look at this but you, and you're the one who has to find out about what motivates you. And when you can see yourself clearer, like looking in a mirror, you get a chance to see yourself. And so I'm going to go through the 6 basic fears here, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this this particular episode at a decent length. Otherwise, we'll have to do a part 2. So the 6 basic fears are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. These are all the fears in our lives, and they all come from places. For me, I would say very, very powerful. The fear of poverty is something I've recently had to deal with as I search for work. And I have a home, and I've got a car, and a number of things that I have to pay for. And so it can be very prevalent in my life. The issue isn't having a mortgage, and having a bill on a car. The issue is the fear of poverty. The fear of poverty. So when the fear comes in, it causes so many different things. Fear of poverty some of the symptoms that Napoleon Hill wrote about is indifference, indecision, doubt, worry, overcaution, procrastination. These are all things that come from the fear of poverty. From the fear of criticism, obviously, I'm facing some of mine by actually doing this podcast. The fear of criticism, what other people think of me, whether it's my voice or what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. This is always something that I've had to deal with. And the symptoms for that are self-consciousness, lack of poise, personality, extravagance, inferiority complex, a lack of initiative, and lack of ambition. The fear of ill health, the symptoms for those are autosuggestion, hypochondria, or I should say negative autosuggestion. We talk to ourselves negatively. We talk about ourselves deprecatingly. We imagine diseases. We get sick, quickly. So autosuggestion, hypochondria, lack of physical exercise or lack of doing something physically positive for ourselves. Susceptibility, self-coddling, and intemperance. Has to do with drink and drug and other things. So the fourth one is the fear of loss, the symptoms of which are jealousy, fault-finding, and gambling. Of all things, gambling. Thinking love can be bought, and not just gambling at like Vegas, gambling on your life and your money and other things like that, thinking that money is going to make the difference. The fifth one is the fear of old age. We fear that we're slowing down. We tend to apologize for being old. Our thinking becomes much more narrow, and we start mimicking. We try and act like younger people instead of accepting ourselves for who we are. When you're in your 20s, everything is wonderful. You get in your 30s, you've got a lot more power, but you're not as fast or as strong. You get in your 40s, and you're probably at a very high level mentally, but your body now is wearing and tearing down a little bit. And you hit your 50s, and you're still even more mentally and spiritually and emotionally powerful, but the body does slow down, and doesn't mean you have to let it slow down. You can just exercise and be as active as possible. So in the fear of death, the symptoms are we think about dying a lot, we feel like we lack purpose, and we feel like we're burdened on our loved ones. These are all things that we look at, and what we need to do in a situation like this is we start by something positive like autosuggestion. As I mentioned earlier, The Obstacle is a Way is a great book to read by Ryan Holiday. It's called The Obstacle is the Way, The Timeless Art of Turning Trials into Triumph. And then the next book is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Another really great book that focuses on our habits and what we do and why we do them, and even looking at ways in which we can change them. Now, Napoleon Hill had these 7 steps of self-confidence, and I'm going to kind of wrap it up with this. I know that I have the ability to accomplish all that I undertake. I know that to succeed, I have only to establish this belief in myself and follow it with vigorous, aggressive action. I will establish it. And so this is something you think about every day. If this is the power of writing down what it is you want to accomplish, and if you can do it like your long-term definitive goal, or let's say some short-term goals, something that you need to get done immediately. For example, I'm still searching for a job, and so I write this down, but I write it down as if it's already happened. I have a job. Now, in my mind, under it, I write down exactly what I'm looking for. I want it to be maybe close to home. I want it to give a certain amount of money. I want to be able to do these things to it. And then slowly just kind of do that over and over again. As I mentioned before in an earlier episode, you say it in the morning when you wake up and when you go to bed. As you head out on the day, whether you're going to work or not, you say it there. You say it when you're in the midst of the day. in every situation, you want to go ahead and continue it. So secondly is I realize my thoughts eventually reproduce themselves in material form and substance and become real in a physical state. Another way to say that is you are what you think about most of the time. Everything in life happens twice. First in the mind and then in real life. And so if you concentrate upon the daily task of thinking of the person you want to be and drawing a mental picture of this person and of transforming this picture into reality. A perfect example is there's an African story of a young prince who was born with a deformity. He had a crooked back and he was hunched over, and his head was tilted to the side because it was just this almost a corkscrew in his back. But he was the prince, and it was his birthday, his 13th birthday. And so his father, the king, asks him what he wants. And he says, "Father, I know exactly what I want. I want you to build me a statue. I want a statue of me." And the father goes, "Is there anything else I can do for you beside this? Can I dissuade you from doing this?" And the son says, "No, not at all," as he looks up, as he turns his head to look up as to his dad. And he says, "But I want you to make the statue of me standing straight up, completely erect." And his father thought about it and he said, "It shall be done." And he says, "Father, one more thing. I want you to place it in front of my window outside of my home." And so the father did just as he had asked. And now every day that the prince saw this statue, it didn't beat him down. He stretched to try and do something so that he could look like this statue. Every single day this thing was before him, and every time he looked out the window or walked outside, he would stretch. Then after about 8 years, something amazing happened. The one day he came out for his birthday and he stood up, and the next thing he realized is he was staring that statue eye to eye. He had kept a picture of what he wanted to look like, and he became that over time. So, just realize that what's in our mind, what's in our thoughts, what we want to be, write down what you want to be, and then try to stretch to do that every day. So you want to study. The third one is, I'm studying with the firm intention of mastering the fundamental principles through which I may attract to me the desirable things from life. Through the study that I've done for The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, I found myself becoming more self-reliant, more cheerful, developing more sympathy for others, and I became stronger both mentally and physically. And it makes me smile. It makes my heart lift up, and I feel better. That doesn't mean I don't go through low times, but for the majority, most of the time, if you meet people who know me, they will tell you that I always seem positive, I always seem bright, I always have a smile on my face. So the fourth one is mastering and overpowering the habit of starting something that you do not finish. From this point forward, you want to put a plan into action, and you want to do all the things that you have on your list. So make a clear mental picture of it, and then let nothing, and I mean nothing, interfere with your plans until they have developed into realities. So the next one is have a clear, mapped out plan for the work you intend to follow. And that's for whether it's short term, for a day, for a week, for a month, for up to 5 years. And then when you do that, set a price on what you expect to receive. How much money is it going to be? What's going to happen? What's going to change? And as time goes on, it may define itself clearer and clearer. And we talked about that in the last episode. So now, if you fully realize that genuine success can come through the application and the principle, whether it's auto-suggestion, holding up your thoughts, constantly focusing on that which you want to achieve, you will succeed, and you will also attract other forces around you. Be aware that as you as you think about that, you actually will attract those things that will help you move forward. You have to be willing to see them and have others help that are attracted to this type of a goal, or to you and what you're planning to do. So utilize other people. Use organized knowledge with other people to be able to build friendships and being able to move things forward. So be sure to be willing to be a friend and show kindness, and you will find that it will be reciprocated. Other folks will do that, and work on eliminating the fear in your mind. As you eliminate the skepticism and you develop a faith in your abilities, and that there is this greater thing with which you can use as a resource in your life, and make sure that you can completely eliminate things like hatred and cynicism, because that will steal away the love and humanity and life from you. And last, learn to stand on your feet and express yourself in a clear, concise, and simple language. As you spend time thinking about your goal, as you spend time doing this, being able to share it is so powerful, and it will build enthusiasm for you. It shows, it carries conviction. Others will become interested in what it is you're doing by you first becoming interested in them. Eliminate selfishness and learn to develop in its place a spirit of service. So those 7 things will help as a guideline for you to be able to build your self-confidence. And I look forward to talking to you next time. If you enjoyed this, by all means, please subscribe, like, or comment on what it is. You can reach me in the email that you see here, or leave a comment. But by all means, let us know if this has helped you, and any other question that you have. Have a great day, and we will talk to you next time.